A 10-year-old walked into court as his dad's lawyer. One question overturned a 15-year sentence. The courtroom was silent. The judge adjusted his glasses as the heavy wooden doors slowly opened. Everyone expected another attorney running late. Instead, a 10-year-old boy wearing an oversized black suit stepped inside, carrying a worn leather briefcase almost too heavy for him. The spectators stared in disbelief. The prosecutor smirked. The police officers exchanged confused looks. Even the defendant, Marcus Johnson, sitting in handcuffs beside his public defender, looked completely shocked. The boy walked confidently to the front of the courtroom. "My name is Daniel Johnson," he said with a calm voice that sounded far older than his age. "I am here to represent my father." The courtroom erupted with laughter. The prosecutor couldn't stop smiling. "Your Honor," he said, "this is not a playground." The judge raised his hand for silence. "Young man, who allowed you into this courtroom?" Daniel looked directly into the judge's eyes. "No one allowed me. I came because no one else would fight for my dad." His words instantly changed the mood. The laughter disappeared. Marcus lowered his head. He had spent 15 years behind bars for an armed robbery that he insisted he never committed. Every appeal had failed. Every lawyer eventually gave up. His wife had died during his 8th year in prison. His family slowly disappeared. Only Daniel continued visiting every month. Since the age of 6, the boy had spent countless hours reading law books from the prison library. While other children played video games, Daniel studied criminal procedure. While classmates watched cartoons, he memorized witness testimonies. He wasn't trying to become famous. He simply wanted his father back. The judge sighed. "Son, the law does not allow a 10-year-old to practice in court." Daniel nodded. "I know. I'm not asking to practice law. I'm asking for 5 minutes. 5 minutes to ask one question." The courtroom became silent again. The judge leaned back. Curiosity replaced irritation. 5 minutes. Nothing more. Daniel smiled. "Thank you, Your Honor." He walked toward the evidence table. Carefully, he placed several folders on top. Every document was neatly organized. Every page contained handwritten notes. The prosecutor watched with growing concern. This wasn't normal. Daniel faced the prosecution's star witness. The witness was Thomas Reed. 15 years earlier, Reed had testified that he clearly saw Marcus rob a neighborhood grocery store at exactly 9:12 that night. His testimony had convinced the jury. Daniel picked up a copy of the original police report. He looked at Reed. "Sir, you said you saw my father leave the store at exactly 9:12. "Yes. You've repeated that statement for 15 years. "Yes." Daniel nodded. Then he walked toward a large television displaying old surveillance images. The blurry footage had always been considered poor quality. No one noticed one tiny detail. Daniel pointed toward the screen. "This security camera has a timestamp." "Correct." The witness agreed. "Yes." Daniel continued. "The timestamp says 8:12. The prosecutor interrupted. "The camera was 1 hour behind." Daniel smiled. "I know." He looked at the witness again. "Then please explain something." The courtroom leaned forward. Daniel spoke slowly. "If the camera was 1 hour behind, and the robbery happened at 9:12, why does the wall clock inside the store also show 8:12? Silence. Complete silence. The witness blinked. Daniel zoomed into the surveillance image. The clock hanging on the wall clearly matched the camera. Both displayed exactly the same time. That meant the camera wasn't behind. The robbery actually happened at 8:12, not 9:12. The prosecutor immediately stood. "Objection." The judge ignored him. He couldn't take his eyes off the screen. Daniel opened another folder. "My father's work records show he was still inside the city bus garage until 8:47. He signed out." His supervisor signed. The security gate recorded his exit. "If the robbery happened at 8:12, my father couldn't have been there." The courtroom gasped. Marcus stared at his son with tears filling his eyes. The prosecutor quickly responded. "The witness simply remembered the wrong time." Daniel shook his head. "If that's true, then why was every police report changed after the investigation?" Another folder appeared. Inside were 3 copies of the same report. The first report listed 8:12. The second listed 8:42. The final version listed 9:12. Each correction happened after detectives interviewed Thomas Reed. No explanation was ever documented. The judge frowned. "Who authorized these changes?" No one answered. Daniel wasn't finished. He requested permission to call one final witness. An elderly janitor slowly entered the courtroom. His name was Samuel Brooks. For 15 years, no lawyer had interviewed him. Because everyone assumed he saw nothing important, Daniel asked a simple question. Mr. Brooks, where were you on the night of the robbery? I was cleaning the parking lot. Did you see my father? No. Did you see anyone else? Yes. I saw Thomas Reed. The courtroom froze. The prosecutor looked nervous. Daniel continued. What was Thomas Reed doing? He was talking to two detectives before they even arrested Marcus. Did that seem unusual? Very. They were laughing. One detective handed him an envelope. The prosecutor objected again. Speculation. Samuel reached into his pocket. I kept something. He pulled out an old photograph. It showed Thomas Reed standing beside the detectives only minutes after the robbery. The timestamp was printed by the disposable camera. 8:20. Marcus hadn't even left work yet. The courtroom erupted. The judge slammed his gavel. Order. Daniel remained calm. He wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. He simply wanted the truth. The judge examined the photograph. Then he looked toward the prosecution. Explain this. No one could. Daniel slowly approached the witness stand one last time. Mr. Reed, I only have one final question. The witness looked exhausted. Daniel spoke softly. If my father didn't rob that store, who were you protecting? The question hit harder than any accusation. Reed's hands began shaking. He looked toward the former detectives sitting quietly in the back of the courtroom. One of them immediately stood and tried to leave. Bailiff. The judge's voice echoed across the room. Close every exit. The detective froze. Thomas Reed finally broke. I never wanted this. They told me Marcus had no family. They promised no one would ever question the case. They paid me. Gasps filled the courtroom. Marcus covered his face. Daniel stood completely still. For 15 years, his father had been called a criminal. His childhood had been spent behind prison walls during visiting hours. Every birthday ended with another goodbye. All because someone chose money over truth. The judge ordered an immediate recess. Federal investigators were contacted. Within hours, evidence rooms were reopened. The original surveillance recordings were recovered. Digital experts confirmed the footage had never been 1 hour behind. The reports had been altered. Witness statements had been rewritten. Evidence favorable to Marcus had disappeared. Over the next several weeks, investigators uncovered a corruption network involving 2 detectives and multiple false witnesses. The real robbery had been committed by another man who confessed after learning the investigation had reopened. Marcus Johnson was officially declared innocent. 15 years of wrongful imprisonment ended with a single court order. The prison gates opened. Daniel stood waiting outside. Neither of them spoke. Marcus simply knelt and wrapped his son in the longest hug either of them had ever known. Television cameras surrounded them. Reporters shouted questions. Daniel, how did you discover what dozens of lawyers missed? The boy smiled. Everyone kept asking who committed the robbery. I asked whether the timeline made sense. Truth doesn't disappear. It waits for someone willing to notice. His answer spread across the country. Law schools discussed the case. Judges used it as an example of why every detail matters. Police departments reviewed thousands of old convictions. Several innocent people were later released after investigators found similar reporting errors. Daniel never claimed he was a hero. He insisted the real heroes were people who refused to stop searching for the truth. Years later, he graduated from law school. On his first day as an attorney, he returned to the same courthouse. The same judge, now retired, attended the ceremony. After the oath, the old judge approached Daniel with a smile. I remember giving a little boy 5 minutes. Daniel laughed. It only took one question. The judge nodded. And that question reminded every person in this courthouse why justice exists. Marcus watched proudly from the front row. No prison uniform. No handcuffs. Just a father finally free to watch his son achieve the dream born from 15 years of hope. Sometimes justice arrives through powerful arguments. Sometimes it comes through undeniable evidence. And sometimes it begins with a child who refuses to accept that the people he loves should be forgotten. Because one honest question, asked at exactly the right moment, can accomplish what 15 years of silence never could. Truth does not fear questions. Only lies do.